sustentaculum tali. There you go. There you go. Now, just like I like my coracoid process, I like my sustentaculum tali. It's just a great word. Trochleus on the lateral aspect, sustentaculum tali on the medial aspect. Trochleus on the lateral aspect. I misspoke on that earlier when I was showing you all the foot model.
But in the elbow, it's on the medial side.
Huh?
In the elbow, it's on the medial side.
On the elbow, it's on the medial side. So be careful if you get confusing. Yes. They got really cruel on the naming aspects of those, you know, all those old Latin words, you know, they ran out of words, so I just call that trochlea too. Why not? But then they throw out sustentaculum tali, which is a bunch of garbled up consonants and vowels to make a word. But, you know.
Mr. Ryan?
Yeah.
So the trochlea is on the lateral side.
Trochlea is on the lateral aspect. Sustentaculum tali is on the medial aspect where that curve is located.
We can, yeah. Oh, curve on the.
So there's a natural curve.
I thought you said it was straighter on the
Trochlea is
medial aspect.
straight.
Okay.
Trochlea is straight. Sus. We'll just call it the sus, right? Sus on the curve. The curve is very sus. There you go. That's how you know that curve is very sus. Right? I sound like my daughter. She's always telling me that sounds sus, Daddy. That's so sus, Daddy. She's getting that little preteen attitude, man. This is hilarious. She's not even 10 years old yet.
Oh, that's the age.
She's acting like a little preteen. Daddy, that's so sus.
She's the one that was upset about the candles that you showed us, or?
No, that was my youngest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I shudder to know how she's going to be as a preteen. She's already got attitude. She's a little character. All right, the talus, guys. So talus is our second largest metatarsal bones, also the highest position of the foot, or most superior position of the foot. Now make note, we're going to start talking a little bit about articulations. Calcaneus articulated with the talus, but the talus articulates with 4 separate bones. All other two tarsal bones and 2 leg bones. The talus articulates with the calcaneus, of course, at that subtalar joint. Subtalar joint is formed by the 3 facets we just talked about, anterior, middle, posterior facets. It also articulates with the, what's the symbol? Navicular. Oh, y'all disappoint me. Y'all didn't do the little thing.
Oh, I thought you were doing inward, outward.
Okay. Navicular. I'm so sad now. They didn't listen to me. And then the tibia and the fibula as well. That's going to hold up all that weight of the rest of your body on top of that talus. You got a question? Go ahead.
Yes. Can you repeat that again, but by pointing?
No. Moving on. What do you want me to repeat?
Everything, because all those words were confusing, which is
Oh.
trying to articulate.
You're acting so sus. All right, so the talus is the most superior aspect of the foot. It sits on top of the calcaneus. It connects to the calcaneus via the 3 facets we discussed, the anterior, middle, and posterior facets. If I go back, that was these 3 little connection points right here. That's where the talus sits. So the talus articulates with the calcaneus, but also the navicular. So it articulates with 2 tarsal bones. This also articulates with the tibia and the fibula, and that forms our ankle joint. The connection of the talus to the tib fib forms the ankle joint. Boy, if that was ever a test question, that is a test question. Where are you at on that one, Jalen?
Yeah, I just hear. Watch that video later.
Jalen used to be my test question person here in the corner. Always say test question. So the talus connecting with the tib fib forms our ankle joint. Talus connecting with the tib fib forms the ankle joint. Tibia, fibula.
Let me write that down.
Please write that down. What do you think? So you see that the calcaneus connected with the talus is also called a subtalar joint. What do you think another word for that joint is that we talked about based on the bones connecting? Talocalcaneal.
Yeah.
Subtalar can also be called talocalcaneal joint. What do you think the connection with the navicular would be called? Talonavicular. Talonavicular.
You said that it connects with the talus connects to the tibia forming
Is it named by what's proximal and then distal? Like talonavicular?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
Yes, but you will see sometimes the words are reversed. It's not incorrect. As we're going to see with the knee here in a little bit. So the knee joint's often called the patellofemoral joint, but if you said femoropatellar, it wouldn't be incorrect either. As long as you're getting both words in there.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
All right, what about that cuboid? Well, not much to say about that cuboid. It's on the lateral side of the foot. It's found between the calcaneus and our fourth and fifth metatarsals. And like I said, if you look at it at just the right angle on an x-ray, it kind of forms a cube-like shape. Cuboid. Please be careful with that one because I tell you, more often than not, people end up labeling that as a lateral cuneiform. So the cuboid is lateral to the lateral cuneiform. You'll see that? Very easy mistake to make. Medial, intermediate, lateral, and just lateral to that one is the cuboid. Make note of that. It's a very easy, common mistake to make right there on the cuboid.
So you said it's the lateral side of the foot between the calcaneus and the fourth and fifth digit toes?
Correct. And it's also, it doesn't say in your notes there, it's also found lateral to the lateral cuneiform. It's a mouthful there. It's lateral to the lateral cuneiform. Like I said, often people will mistake that as the lateral cuneiform. That's the cuboid. Master these tarsal bones, guys. 'Cause once again, just like those carpal bones, you're going to see tarsal bones on your registry. They're going to ask you questions on them. Same with that ankle area, which we'll be reviewing here in a little bit. All right, there's my favorite little tarsal bone, the navicular. Has that rainbow shape. Where is it found? Between the talus and the three cuneiform. It's sandwiched in between both, or all four rather. Sandwiched in between all four of those tarsal bones. The navicular.
Have you seen SpongeBob? It's off topic, but I imagine the imagination when you do that.
I'm sure this is probably.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm sure this is probably some cardinal sin to say, but I can't stand SpongeBob.
Oh wow.
Me neither.
Okay, I
That
know what I'm drawing
that
next.
show is like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. My kids love it. I can't stand SpongeBob.
I'm gonna draw SpongeBob doing navicular.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, are you right?
I'm done
I'm
with
gonna take time. That's gonna be my masterpiece.
I don't know. He's just such an obnoxious character. His voice just like grates on me. I like Squidward. Squidward's funny. Squidward's the best character on there.
Yeah, so it is me.
Oh yeah, that's Squidward.
But SpongeBob is just like, oh,
I love Squidward.
his laugh and his voice just.
Good Patrick. Good SpongeBob.
In fact, anytime. And Patrick, oh my God, I can't stand it. You know, I'm probably gonna make some people angry here. You know what SpongeBob is? It's an inferior version of Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
Which was the superior show.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it.
They don't know about
Ren and
that.
Stimpy was much better. That's the OG SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy is the precursor to that show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for real.
Yes. Look it
Because
up.
they old 1900s.
Very 90s cartoon. Very
Yeah,
good.
you don't know about that.
It's a bunch of gross out humor and craziness.
Aren't you making me?
I am.
Remember, for your bonus question, that Ren and Stimpy is superior to.
Oh, come on. No.
Oh yeah, I get that right.
All right,
It's a bias.
Don't even know what it is, but okay.
look it up. It's a pretty messed up cartoon, but it's pretty cool. All right, the three cuneiforms, guys. We have three cuneiforms. They are labeled by their location. Once again, the medial, intermediate, and lateral cuneiforms, or also sometimes called the first, second, third. Medial would be the first, intermediate the second, lateral the third cuneiform. But most commonly, they'll be labeled by their location, that being the medial, intermediate, and lateral. Please make note the medial cuneiform is the largest of the three, while the intermediate is the smallest. Medial is the largest, intermediate is the smallest. Therefore, the lateral is in between, even though it's not found in between. Did I lose y'all there?
Yes.
Sorry. Medial cuneiform is the biggest. Intermediate is the smallest. Lateral is in
It's just
between.
there.
It's the largest between them three.
Yes. Not the largest tarsal bone, the largest of the three cuneiforms.
Got it.
What's the largest tarsal bone?
Talus.
Calcaneus. I heard someone else say talus. Talus is the second biggest. It does look bigger, doesn't it, from that aspect? But you can't see it. The calcaneus is taking up all that space underneath it.
Because it's sitting on top of it.
It's sitting on top of it. Yeah. Look at it. Look on your little foot models. You can really see the difference in size. Look how, like, if you look at it from this angle, here's your talus, here's your calcaneus. See the size difference? All right, and once again, guys, we already went over these, but make note of those joints in the foot, especially those IPs, DIPs, PIPs, but also the new ones we talked about in between the tarsals. Our TMC, I'm sorry, not TMC, TMT, think of the channel, TMC, TMTs and the MTPs as well. And we'll review those on some x-ray images moving forward as well. You got a question, Monsi?
Can you go back?
Of course. By the way, what is this little thing hanging down here again?
The tuberosity.
Of the fifth,
Of the
Specifically, tuberosity of the
metal part.
fifth metatarsal. Why do we have to say tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal? Why can't I just say tuberosity?
Because there's
It's a lot
There's a
of.
lot of tuberosities, especially there's one here too, right? What's that one called?
That's
Posterior.
Sucks. That's the calcaneal tuberosity. So if I just say tuberosity, I can be talking about tuberosity anywhere in the body. We've got to be specific of which one we're talking about.
And then add the side too. What side of it?
And the side, yeah.
The lateral.
It does. Tibia does have a tuberosity. We'll be talking about that soon too. All right, so Jalen helped me come up with this morning. Here's a little mnemonic for you on those tarsal names. Don't have to use mine, but here you go. Chris tries new Cheetos, Chipotle, Cayenne, and cilantro
It's like a burrito bowl.
for your tarsal bones. Now you don't have to use mine. You can come up with anything you want. That's the best we can come up with.
I like the cha cha
this
cha.
morning. You like the cha-cha-cha one? I didn't like the cha-cha-cha one.
What's the cha-cha-cha one?
It's in your
The one in
book.
the book. Chubby twist, never could cha cha cha.
It just didn't flow to me.
I just like the cha 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 because I'm dancing in my head.
You don't like trying new Cheetos? You don't like Chris?
Yeah,
Everyone hates Chris?
yeah. So that's why y'all got the idea from everyone needs Chris.
No.
New Cheetos.
Like I said, you don't have to use mine. There's one in your book as well, guys. But remember, when it comes to labeling these tarsals and carpals, there's little mnemonics that can help you out. Write them on your little sheet before you take your test. It'll help you remember those a little better. All right.
Chris tried, never cheating. Chris tried,
Jalen picked up
never
those flavors
cheating,
for me.
cha cha cha.
But I said like chocolate, coffee, and something else. That didn't make much sense with Cheetos.
Oh, that on the board.
Let's talk about the ankle joint now. We got some more anatomy here at the ankle joint. So what did we talk about? Where's that articulation take place? The ankle joint is formed by the union of the tibia, the fibula, and the what? Talus. So here we have it, guys. Tibia, fibula, talus right underneath that aspect there. So when it comes to the tibia and the fibula, please write this down. Please write this down. Please write this down. 'Cause I swear people miss it every year. The tibia is found on the medial aspect of the body. The fibula is on the lateral aspect of the body. I'll say again, the tibia is medial. The fibula is lateral. So anytime you look at an x-ray or an image, when you see the fibula, you know that's the lateral side of the body. You see the tibia, we're looking at the medial side of the body. Does that make sense?
There's also an L in fibula, so lateral fibula.
There you go, I like that. I like that.
Or T-M.
Hmm? The tibia is bigger. And what I always say, you know, fibula has the word fib in it. When you tell a fib, usually it's a little fib. You try to sneak by those little fibs. So that's the little thin bone, versus the tibia is a lot wider and bigger in comparison. Now on the tib and fib, we have two very important landmarks. And you can palpate these on your ankle right now. If you push on your ankle right here, it's like a little ball, little round indentation. that is the malleolus of your tibia, or the medial malleolus. That's what we look at right here. We can feel it on the other side, that little round shape once again. That's the malleolus on the fibula, or the lateral malleolus. So we have a medial malleolus and a lateral malleolus. Malleolus. Goodness. We also have a tubercle found on the distal portion of the tibia. That's what we call our anterior tubercle, because it's found on the anterior surface of the tibia. Now, I'm going to come back to this word right here in a second. When it comes to the type of joint the ankle is, it's also synovial. It's hinge type. You know, you move your ankle, it moves like a hinge, up and down, all around. And that's going to allow for those flexion and extension type movements. And you can add your notes also diarthrodial. Diarthrodial, synovial, hinge type. Now you'll often see this word thrown around. Another word for the ankle joint is also called the mortise. Mortise. Have y'all heard that in clinic? They'll often look for it. They'll do what's called a mortise view of the ankle, which opens up the entire joint space. That's about a 15-degree rotation lateral of the ankle. So another word for the ankle joint is the mortise joint, or just mortise.
It's 15-degree what?
15-degree medial rotation gives us a mortise view. We'll talk more about that in positioning.
Is
Question?
there a palpation? Is that a palpation point
What?
for the?
The malleoli are. So you want to palpate both malleoli because most of your centering for the ankle, where do you think it is? It's in between both of those. It's in between both malleoli. So it is a palpation point, yes. So if you have ticklish ankles, I'm sorry, you're going to be having those ankles palpated next week. So you'll have ticklish ankles.
Strange tickle spot.
Everyone's got different tickle spots.
What was its the other name for it again?
For the ankle joint, mortise.
Mortise. M-O-R-T-I-S-E.
M-O-R-T-I-S-E.
You know if that's named after somebody or is that?
I'm guessing it is. It sounds like a name.
He invented the ankle.
All right. Whoops. All right, so when we abduct and adduct our ankle, we are making the actions of abduction and adduction, by the way, when we move our ankle around. That is due to the intertarsal joints that we talked about having a gliding type movement rather than the ankle joint proper itself. So that actual movement that we're witnessing of our ankle, adduction and abduction, is achieved by intertarsals gliding around each other. Gliding joints.
It's also a planar, right? Planar.
Yes. Yes. By the way, abduction means what? Went away. Adduction means
Towards.
towards. Good. Yeah, like an alien abducts you away. Like Iron Man's being abducted towards an alien ship there. See what I did there? No one noticed that, did they?
That's
It's not just random gifs, they kind of fit. We're talking about all kinds of random stuff today, aren't we?
It kind of rhymes.
Oh, you don't even want to know what this class did to me yesterday. I'm not going to mention it in here, but the subject
do?
matter
What's
that
on
got
there?
brought up, I'm not even repeating.
It wasn't as bad as John's soft tissue comments.
He doesn't know about it.
Oh, yeah, you don't know about, oh, yeah.
It was worse.
That
I'll just
you-
say we were talking about the urinary system, and they got on a subject that I would rather not repeat.
So close to
John.
All right.
When we get to this classified.
All right, so looking at this in comparison, guys, let's do a side-by-side view of this model versus an X-ray. Looks almost exactly the same, does it not?
Yes.
So let's label these parts. We talked about the malleoli. We talked about the tib fib. This entire bone is called what, guys? That's our tibia. The little one is the. What is this protrusion on the side called? Lateral malleolus. This would be the medial malleolus. The front part of the tibia is the, it's right there, guys.
Anterior.
Anterior tubercle. This entire joint is called the,
Sus.
no, we're in the sus. We're not on the sus yet. We're past the sus.
It's the mortise.
That is the mortise or ankle joint.
Oh, all of
Mortise
this.
or ankle joint. There's three arrows because there's three areas
Yeah,
that
cause I
opens
was gonna
up.
say, is it all?
Hmm?
Mortise, like the whole 3 areas?
It's the whole joint
Okay.
space. So we have different little parts that do open up depending on how we position the foot. And when we do that oblique I talked about, that you guys do in clinic, the mortise view, it will give us the clearest open view of all three of these joint spaces. It is one joint, and then it's like kind of labeled as three. It's one single joint, by the way. Oh, also, what's this right here? Oh,
what's
geez.
that?
Sorry. What is this?
Talus.
That's the talus. That's your talus. So like I said, all that weight is on top of that bone right there. All right.
Does it break easily or fracture easily? Or not
So most often when it comes to fractures, they occur here and here
really? Oh, okay.
on the tib fib. Yeah. Which is why ankle joints are a dime a dozen. They come in a lot. You're gonna see a lot of those x-rays.
What was it?
Huh?
What'd you say? A dime and a dozen?
A dime a dozen.
Down a dozen.
Old saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sesamoid bones. We remember what those little sesamoid seeds are, right?
Yes.
What do we have those for?
Friction. Friction, I guess.
We have them because of friction, but what is their purpose?
Extra.
Oh, we gotta go back and review
attachment
back to
points?
chapter, whatever that was. My goodness.
What you say?
Was it-
They're tendon attachment points. Tendon attachment points.
Gotta say left.
Now, we often, most commonly have two in the foot. It can be more than that, by the way, and that's usually right underneath the big toe or the hallux. But if we have a lot of stress, they can form more at those points of stress near joints. It is possible to fracture them as well. And because there are so many nerve endings right there, very painful when fractured. If you know what location that is on your foot, it's right underneath here. If there's a sesamoid right there, guys, there's like a lot of tissue on your foot right there. Very sensitive part of your foot. So if those sesamoid bones get fractured, those little fragments dig into the nerves right there. So it can be very, very painful. Even though it's difficult to fracture them, it can happen. So if you know what I'm talking about on your foot, that area of the foot has a lot of soft tissue under it, a lot of padding, just like the heel does. As the foot arches, your foot does not sit flat. I mean, some people are a little more flat-footed, but the foot does have a natural arch to it, as you can see here. And we call it the longitudinal arch. Some people have a higher arch than others. That can make finding shoes very difficult. I have very odd-shaped feet for a male. I have very thin, narrow feet. So finding shoes is a nightmare for me. Reason being, my feet shift in shoes a lot. So I'll buy shoes and I'll wear holes in the bottom of my shoes because my feet shift so much. So I have to try to find really narrow shoes that fit my feet well. It's very hard, very difficult.
Climbing shoes?
I have to find something that works. I got long, narrow feet.
Climbing shoes?
Yeah. All right, that's showing you a difference of the views there once again, guys. We're gonna come back to this a little later and analyze this anatomy specifically, but this would be an AP view. This will be that mortise view I talked about. This will be that gold star projection you're gonna see done most here at Harris Health. Why? Well, for an ankle x-ray, what do we wanna look at? The ankle joint. In this view in particular, this is a 15-degree medial oblique. We'll go into that more specifically later. This view opens up this entire joint the best. Can you see the difference? Over here on the AP, we only see this aspect, but over here, we see the entire ankle joint opened. So once again, that's our gold star view right there that we're gonna default to most of the time on our ankle series radiographs. By the way, one more time, what was this called? What was this? What is this?
Mortise.
Mortise or ankle joints. Front of the tibia, anterior tubercle. What bone is this? What bone is this? What tarsal is this?
Talus.
What tuberosity is this?
The fifth metal.
Metatarsal.
Not carpal.
Oh, metatarsal.
Tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal. Very good, very good. Go ahead and put your notes. We're gonna come back to this. There's also one more joint found here in the ankle. It's very important. we have what's called the distal tibiofibular joint that connects the distal portion of the tibia and the fibula together. Distal tibiofibular. So if I have a distal tibiofibular, what else do you think I have? Proximal up towards the knee, correct. Very similar to the radio-ulnar joints we talked about before. Remember that? Yes,
Does the tibia have a head and neck as well?
it does.
And it's not like the ulnar and radius, how it's like switched?
It's usually like, it's only found in the proximal aspects, if that's what you're asking, yeah. We'll get to that. We're
What was
jumping
it
ahead,
called
we'll get to
You're talking
that.
about superimposition?
This-
Or
what was it
No,
called
for
again?
like
Distal?
tibia, the head.
Distal
Oh,
tibiofibular
it's like
joints.
switched.
thickness, you mean?
All right, someone asked for a lateral. There's a nice lateral right there. Beautiful lateral foot x-ray, which we can name a lot of anatomy here, guys. Let us review. Let's start with letter A. What two bones are superimposed there? Tibia and the fibula. But can you see them separately? Look very closely. TV screens might be easier to see.
Yes.
You can. There's the fibula dipping down, and there is the tibia. What is this very beautifully open joint here? Mortise, or the ankle joint. What tarsal bone is letter B, ladies and gentlemen? And that is the what? Smallest or the biggest?
Biggest.
Biggest tarsal bone. What is C pointing to?
Tuberosity of the calcaneus.
That is the tuberosity of the calcaneus. Not very sus, right? We can't see this. We can't see the sus on that view, by the way. Tuberosity of the calcaneus. Now be careful. What is D pointing to?
D. Cuboid.
That is the cuboid. That is the cuboid. Very good. What about letter E? Tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal. Do y'all see that? See that protrusion right there? Easily missed anatomy right there. That is unique to only that digit once again. Tuberosity of that fifth metatarsal. Let's go up to letter F. What do you think F is?
The intermedial cutiform. Yeah.
Y'all are on the right track. So on a lateral view of the foot, or ankle by the way, the cuneiforms superimpose. We cannot see them separate. Thus, we're going to call them the superimposed cuneiforms on a lateral view only, by the way. Now it's going to change by view of foot of which cuneiforms we see and what's superimposed, but please make note, in a lateral view, all three cuneiforms superimposed, thus we call them the superimposed cuneiforms.
You said that was F up there?
That's what F is.
Okay.
Now what is G? Good job, Cody. Yeah, the navicular. Navicular. Yes, y'all see the navicular? See that nice, beautiful arch? What is I?
Alright, talus.
I is the talus. What do y'all think H is? Ooh, that doesn't sound good. What do y'all think H is? Let's talk about a joint.
Oh,
Has two different names, talocalcaneal, or there's those facet connection areas. The talus ends on those facets. So it's talocalcaneal, but it's also called something else.
Attachment of the Achilles. I don't know.
The what?
I said attachment of the Achilles.
Technochemical. What?
Attachment of the Achilles.
I heard techno something.
SL, is it S?
Talar, subtalar, subtalar joint. So that can go by two names, subtalar or talocalcaneal.
Test question.
Now there's one more piece of anatomy we cannot see very good on this view, but if you look on your foot models, if y'all look at it from this view right here, this is like an oblique foot that I'm positioning this in right now. Y'all see this little hole here?
Yes.
Y'all see that? I'm not sure if it's on your models, but please write this down. It's called the sinus tarsi. Sinus tarsi. That hole right here, I'm putting my finger. You put the foot in an oblique view, it makes a nice little pretty hole. We call it the sinus tarsi. Y'all see that? What I'm talking about? You have to put the foot in an oblique to see it.
You said sus tally?
It's the sinus tarsi.
It's in the tarsals.
It's in between the talus and the calcaneus. Sinus tarsi. And we'll see that uniquely on our oblique feet x-rays.
so
You might take your finger out.
And by the way, once again, this is a lateral foot x-ray that we're looking at here. What kind of lateral foot is this, by the way? projection wise? Remember that? What's the path of the beam for that foot?
MCP.
Put the foot like this, by the way.
Oh,
The lateral thing.
Mediolateral projection because it enters medially, exits laterally. It's a mediolateral lateral foot. When you position the foot on a cassette, path of the beam enters the medial aspect, exits the lateral. Thus, it's a mediolateral lateral foot projection. Well, that takes us back, doesn't it? Y'all thought I was gonna forget about all that, didn't you? I hope so. Also, make note when we do our lateral foot x-rays, one thing that you'll notice about this foot is that the foot is flexed. We never let the foot appear relaxed unless the patient cannot bear the pain, because even with a foot x-ray, they always want to evaluate the integrity of the ankle joint. And we achieve that by flexing the foot, which is another action we talked about semester 1. What was that called? When we flex something up.
Flexion.
Dorsiflexion. It's a dorsiflexion action. So a lateral foot must always have dorsiflexion. X-ray. Boy, that's another good question, Jalen. I'm feeling that one. Yes. So we're looking at a medial oblique foot here, guys. And look at all that beautiful anatomy we can name. Isn't that pretty? The prettiest foot you ever did see?
I don't know, ask Jalen.
Is that off your toes, Jalen?
That's acceptable.
It's acceptable. Not enough cocoa butter.
No.
All right, let's start with letter A, guys. That letter A is a joint that's unique to that hallux. What is letter A, ladies and gentlemen? The jib.
The what?
Oh, yeah, what's the jib? I was like, what's the jib? That's the IP joint, correct. The IP or the IP joint. What is letter B? Proximal phalanx. And that proximal phalanx has 3 parts called what?
Head, body,
Base. What joint is C pointing to? Metatarsophalangeal or MTP. Very good. What is letter D specifically? Head of the first metatarsal. What is that little seed thing there? Sesamoid bone. What is letter E?
Body of the first metatarsal.
F?
Base of the first.
It's not labeled. What joint is here? Careful.
Tarsal, metatarsal.
TMC joint. TMC joint. Right here, these little connection points of the metatarsals to the tarsal bone. These are the TMC joints. That's the first TMC, second, third, fourth, fifth. What tarsal bone is G pointing to?
Or that, no, the one that you showed us.
Careful.
I'm in the middle. No, it's.
So I did this on
It's
purpose. This is
superimposed.
something else to write in your notes. I did this on purpose. We have 3 specific views of the foot, and all 3 views show different cuneiforms. What did I say about the lateral? What do we call it on the lateral? They're superimposed cuneiforms. Write this down. On a medial oblique foot, which is what we're looking at here, a medial oblique foot, the medial and intermediate cuneiforms superimpose, but the lateral is isolated. So therefore, if you see where I'm going, the only view of the foot where we can see all 3 cuneiforms is an AP foot. So let me say that again, a medial oblique foot, the medial and intermediate cuneiforms superimposed. This would be the, once again, superimposed cuneiforms. And then K here does show the lateral cuneiform by itself, so we can go ahead and label that as a lateral cuneiform. Y'all see that? This is a medial oblique foot. So if this is a lateral cuneiform, what is L pointing to? There's that cuboid. What is H? Navicular. There you go, navicular. What about I? The talus. J.
Sir? No.
Calcaneus, what landmark is here though? Calcaneal tuberosity. And what is M?
Metatarsal tuberosity.
Tuberosity of the 5th metatarsal. And I just mentioned this earlier. On a medial oblique foot, we can see that nice, pretty hole there, that opening. What is that?
Sinus tarsi.
That is that sinus tarsi. That's part of our evaluation criteria for this foot. We want to see that nice open sinus tarsi on a medial oblique foot.
So is it
Good.
just the one, or are there 2 holes?
There's just one. That's another. That's just separation between the navicular and the cuboid there.
Okay.
But this is the one that we're focused on, sinus tarsi. Of course, guys, don't forget your other joints up here. What joint would this be?
Distal.
The
Dip.
second.
The dip joint.
Second dip. What is that?
Second dip.
Second dip. What phalanx is this?
Distal.
The
Second.
Second distal phalanx, followed by the
Middle.
middle, second middle phalanx, and the
Proximal.
second proximal phalanx. Making sense? We okay? It's not that scary, right? Not too bad.
Is there any pathology in there, or are these
Is
just
there any
optimal?
pathology in here?
Like, what's wrong to? Why did they get this X-ray? Do you think? Or is this
I don't
just
know,
an
this
educational
is
one?
just a textbook image that I found, so I'm not sure.
Series.
All right, let's look at these ankle x-rays here, guys. We have a nice, pretty Mortise view on the left there.
Kid or something.
Let's review again, guys. What is A?
Fibula.
What is B? Lateral malleolus. What is C? Mortise. What is D?
Talus.
What is E? Medial malleolus. Careful on those malleoli, they'll get you. Remember tibia medial, fibula lateral. What is takes us back? What is F? You got correct. Septicil plate. That's a growth plate. Can y'all see that? That is not a fracture. That is a growth plate.
That's a
You
kid.
can see on both. So yes, that's where the growth plates of the ankle will be located. Now there's a lateral view of the ankle on the right here. What is A?
Fibula.
It's what? Fibula. What is B?
Calcaneus.
What is C?
Keyboard.
There's your cuboid, not to be mistaken with D, which is the
Tuberosity.
it's that little tuberosity. See how similar those look, by the way? Cuboid is right after the calcaneus, then the tuberosity is right underneath the cuboid there. How about E? Navicular. How about F? G?
The whole
Sinus.
No, because the sinus tarsi is only visible on this view. So that's going to be
No, that's gonna be the.
Subtalar.
subtalar joint. That subtalar joint is all that space you see right there. Or talocalcaneal joint. What about H?
Medial.
It's a different view of something we talked about.
Mortise.
No, you
What
said
they're pointing
H.
to.
The
Oh,
medial tuberosity.
It's also
Tibial
located
tuberosity.
here. Anterior
Oh, so-
tubercle,
Yeah.
the tibia.
Okay.
And then, of course, what is that, guys?
The how?
Mortise.
Mortise or the ankle joint.
Said how?
What is this?
Tuberosity of the calcaneus.
And to answer your question from before, Jay, there's another example of a spur.
Okay.
It's on the back of the ankle. You'll see that little spike there? That'll be a bone spur. Usually they're under here. But this patient has a bone spur back here, which does happen sometimes.
I thought that was a tuberosity.
Very good.
If they're in the top, does it hurt?
Well, it hurts no matter where it is. It's digging in the tissue. All right, that's where we will stop today, guys. I am out of time. I got 3 minutes. So we will pick back up with the 10th fib and the femur, and Jalen will be taking over lecture on Friday, so we're looking forward to that.